Good evening and welcome to the Nevis Newscast. Today is Monday, August the 24th, 2015. I'm Donis Wilkinson Keynes. All tropical storm watches and warnings for St. Kitts and Nevis were discontinued earlier today, as what was a tropical storm as recently as 5 a.m. is now a tropical depression moving over the southern Leeward Islands. Huey Sargent tells us more in this report.
Much of Nevis and Charlestown remained closed today, August 24th, as the federal cabinet had on Friday advised of a closure in the public sector. The release based on the impending passage of what was then Hurricane Danny through the Leeward Islands. By yesterday Sunday, the storm had deteriorated rapidly from what was a Category 3 hurricane to a weak tropical storm. The system took a turn to the south late last evening and further deterioration. The weather conditions on Nevis were mostly overcast and dry today. Public servants remained home and thus government offices were closed as well as banks and the rest of the business district in Charlestown. A few business places, though, such as supermarkets and other small businesses, remained opened during the day. Officer in charge of the Nevis Disaster Management Department gave us this update when we visited him earlier today.
Tropical storm warning and watches have been cancelled for St. Kitts and Nevis as Danny progresses southwestwards. Should be passing by the islands of St. Kitts and Nevis around 2 p.m. this afternoon, but the impact would be minimal, so we would now turn our attention to the future. We have probably 2 systems in the mid-Atlantic that can reach the islands on the weekend, or probably by Thursday to Saturday of this week.
Dyer noted that there are 2 other systems in the Atlantic that his office and the disaster officials in the Caribbean are monitoring.
Weather forecasters are predicting the other 2 systems could be named as early as today. The first one will be named Erica, and the system behind that could become Fred as the week progresses. I do want to encourage persons to be aware of these systems, and also that we are approaching the traditional peak of the hurricane season in the period of September, and I do want you to continue to ensure that you are prepared in the event that we have to call upon you again.
Though the hurricane season has been barely active, once again persons are asked to stay alert as we are approaching what is the traditional peak of hurricane activity. I'm Huey Sargent reporting for the Nevis Newscast.
Thanks, Huey. The general public is hereby advised that the second day of the Caribbean Football Union's CFU Under-17 Female World Cup qualifying matches are scheduled for tomorrow, Tuesday, August the 25th at the El Camino T. Willett Park. The matches, which were previously scheduled for this evening, have been postponed due to the passage of the storm. According to Jamia Claxton, Senior Sports Coordinator in the Department of Youth and Sports, in the first match, the British Virgin Islands will come up against Trinidad and Tobago at 9:30 a.m., while Dominica will take on host St. Kitts and Nevis at 3:30 p.m. Meantime, last Saturday's matches saw Trinidad defeat Dominica 4-0, while host St. Kitts and Nevis defeated the British Virgin Islands 3-1. The Customs and Excise Department here on Nevis was today expected to begin its implementation of the automated system for customs data, ASECUDA. ASECUDA is an integrated customs management system for international trade and transport operations. The commencement of the implementation process comes on the heels of Friday's conclusion of a workshop which trained customs officers in the use of the program. Assistant Comptroller Warren Pemberton chaired that brief closing ceremony.
I know it wasn't easy. It was somewhat challenging at times, but you can all be proud of yourself that you're here today at the end of this workshop, successful, and we are about to embark on a new program that the Customs is implementing, ASECUDA World, which will make our work a lot easier. It's going to make trade facilitation much more simpler. And again, I want to say thanks for the effort. And You should all be proud of yourselves. I want to say thanks to the St. Kitts team that came over to make this workshop possible, headed by Mr. Theodore Brown, Assistant Comptroller in charge of training, also Mr. Ivor Rensford, Clibborn Jeffers, Carlos Powell, and Keisha Brown. Thanks for you guys for helping us out so much.
The lead facilitator was Assistant Comptroller in charge of training, Theodore Brown. He called on the public to be patient as the department goes through the implementation process.
We were indeed grateful to be here in Nevis for 2 weeks of training with the customs officers and also the brokers. So this evening we'll be having the final training for the brokers. And next week we'll be here to give you support for the launch of Asecura World here in Nevis. And I can tell the Nevisian public that you have a cadre of trained officers now in Asecura World. So trade facilitation, as you heard earlier, will be a much simpler process. And you know that we have to facilitate trade. And so everything is geared towards the importers, the general public. We try to implement this program so that it's a one-stop shop. No longer will be running here and 10 different places, but everything will be in one place.
Functional team leader Ivor Rensford says the program is essentially a partnership with the public to ensure goods move smoothly across the borders.
It gives us the ability to link with all other agencies involved in cross-border activities. So we are saying that if you have to deal with the Port Authority or agriculture or health services, any of those persons that have an interest in imports, we are able to link them to a portal where they can look at your imports, they can look at the application for license, they can approve them electronically, as opposed to you running back and forth with papers. We're looking to establish a paperless environment, basically, for trade, where all you need really is a number. So this is the number of my declaration. And any agency that has interest in that should be able to pull up and approve or deny whatever they need to do and ask to make necessary amendments. My final advice to the general public would be, once again, to be patient and ask questions where you're not sure.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, Colin Doe, gave his full support to the training workshop. He says he's indeed happy that the Customs Department in Nevis can join the rest of the world in implementing Asecura.
I believe there are tremendous benefits to be gained. I'm happy that you, the officers, took the training in. I've done quite well over the last 2 weeks. I've seen the interest, and I'm hoping that that interest now can go into next week, into the implementation, and we can have a successful implementation of Asecura. I think there are tremendous benefits to be gained. I want to say to the public as well, it's a new system, and it's new to all of us, both the brokers, custom officer, and you, the general public. There will be some changes in procedures. Be patient with the officers. They would not do everything instantly. It's a learning process. And I want to say to you, the officers as well, you will have your challenges from the customers, because with every new system, there's always a challenge for implementation. Patience and being courteous is still the watchword, even as we go into that difficult period, into next week and the next couple of weeks, until we get better at it and can expedite transaction through the customs system.
The customs officers were presented with certificates indicating they are having completed training in the use of Asecura. The program is expected to be assessed over the next month, and the department will host consultations with the public, who will be allowed to make suggestions for improvement where necessary. Still to come,
the University of Taiwan dancers will be here on the 3rd of September.
The details after this break.
I always think of her, but then I always think of him too. He should have never forced himself on her. Help us stop the madness. If you know it, tell it. Tell 1-800-8477-TIPS.
Them love every night, every day. Them love. Listen up. You can now join NTV on Facebook. Add us as a friend or check out the NTV Facebook fan page for updates and discussions as well as pictures and videos. An archive of the Nevis Newscast is available on NTV on Facebook. Join us.
Welcome back. Superintendent of Police Hilary Bandy has called on the island's students to recognize their value to their communities. Bandy reminds the students that through their achievement of a good education and their choice of a meaningful and rewarding career, they can help to elevate their households and communities.
I encourage you, 1, not to bend to peer pressure, bullying, criminality, and negative influence. 2, remain respectful to your parents, teachers, and others within your community. And 3, keep focus on your schoolwork and engage in positive activity. The choice you make or the path you choose now determine your future. In dictating whether you are able to be possible to get a visa to go away to study and scholarship or to receive a loan, whether you get into sixth form or get a higher education or to get a good job.
According to Superintendent Bandy, the Nevis Division has adopted the theme Fostering Community Relationships to Ensure Crime Reduction for 2015. He spoke of one program that the police will implement shortly in keeping with this theme.
The Nevis Division this term intends to roll out a new primary school program whereby working closely with the schools, we will award the best disciplined 6th grader across all the primary school with a special prize and graduation day.
Superintendent Bandy is also encouraging parents to get their children involved in wholesome activities offered by their communities and the schools.
As parents, you must be the example for your children to follow. I applaud you not to be an example of one who visits the school and have conflict with the teachers. Take time and work with your child on homework and on projects. Build relationship with the school so you can be better understand when problems involving your child arise, or to be an active part in the educational advancement of your child and the community.
Superintendent of Police Hilary Bandy. In more local news,
the University of Taiwan dancers will be here on the 3rd of September. They will be performing here at NIPAC. Further details on that will be issued via the media, but you can put that down in your calendars or diaries. The Taiwanese will be here once again performing for us here at NIPAC.
Deslyn Williams-Johnson, General Manager of the Nevis Performing Arts Center in NIPAC. She also outlined that the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation is currently working on productions which are scheduled to take place later this year and early next year. Meanwhile, Williams-Johnson advises the public that the One Caribbean Culture production of Woman Can Lie, which was scheduled to take place at NIPAC on Friday 28th and Saturday 29th August, has been postponed.
One of their cast members fell ill and has had to seek urgent medical attention. However, they wish to have the production done at a later date and are currently looking at the November month for their production. The date has not yet been decided, but that information will be given subsequently.
General Manager of the Nevis Performing Arts Center, Deslyn Williams-Johnson. And finally, the Department of Youth and Sports last week hosted a dance camp at the Nevis Performing Arts Center. The closing ceremony was held on Friday, August the 21st, when the participants performed the various dances they learned over the course of the week. Facilitator and Youth Development Officer in the Department of Youth and Sports, Alfonso Henry, said he was elated to have had the opportunity to host the camp and explained that the camp was an opportunity for the youth to channel their inner strength into something positive.
I see this as an avenue for me to promote myself as a youth ambassador through dance and dance education. And over the past week, the children, or must I say the participants, they did a number of genres of dance, within the African genre, must I say. So they would have completed West African dance forms and Caribbean folk forms. I think that they had a really good experience from the reviews. I feel that the parents were very much proud and they are looking forward to this next year. I see this as an initiative for the youth department to promote dance and, must I say, non-traditional areas within Nevis, so that we can allow youths to channel their inner abilities, and so that we, as the older generation, can see what talents they possess.
He also announced that in the month of September, he will be hosting adult dance classes and would update the general public as the time draws near. Meanwhile, Alfonso Henry will be Nevis's representative in the second annual Mr. Caribbean competition, scheduled to take place in Rosa Dominica on Saturday, August 29th.
I would be entering the Mr. Caribbean competition in Rosa Dominica. It is scheduled for August 29th at the Ararak House of Culture. This is, as I stated, the second annual, and currently Nevis is the winner, which was, and must I say, the first ever, and his name is Caddy Tyson. So I have a lot of pressure on me in terms of getting the crown back to Nevis. But preparation has been good thus far. I must commend my team for the hard work that they have been doing to ensure that I put my best foot forward. Definitely Nevis, if you know me, you know that I am not going down without a fight.
Henry, along with the 6 other participants from countries including Antigua and Barbuda, Grenada, Guyana, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Dominica, will vie for the title of Mr. Caribbean. The reigning Mr. Caribbean is Nevis's Mr. Cool 2014, Caddy Tyson. That's it for this evening's edition of the Nevis Newscast. Let's take one last look at our top stories. Danny weakens to a tropical depression and Customs Department implements Asecuda. On behalf of all of us here at the Department of Information, thank you for viewing tonight's newscast. I'm Donis Wilkinson Keynes. Good night.